Okay, so this is Unit 7, Lesson 9, and we're going to be determining solutions to inequalities. So again, we're going to be writing inequalities, we're going to be graphing inequalities, and we are going to find the solutions for them. All right, so it says Pariah finds these heights required for some of the rides at an amusement park. So to ride the high bounce, the climathon, and the twirler coaster, you must be between 55 inches and 72 inches tall. For the climathon, under 60 inches tall, and the twirler coaster is 58 inches minimum. So what we're going to do for this first, for number 1, is write an inequality for each of the 3 height requirements. Use h. So this is the variable because we don't necessarily know what the numbers are yet for the unknown height. Then represent each height requirement on the number line. So for the high bounce, this gives us one that is between two numbers. So you have to be greater than 55 inches, but less than 72 inches. So our inequality is going to look like this. H is greater than 52, but H is less than 72. Okay, and what that means is on our number line over here, and with number lines, you don't have to, or I'm sorry, this is 55. You don't have to always start at 0, and you don't have to do every single number. So we're going to put 50, then we're going to do 55, 60, 65, 70, and then 75. Okay, and we know that 55, so that you have to be greater than 55, so it does not include it, and it has to go to 72. Okay, so this is 55, and this is 72. All right, so that's essentially our inequalities and then how we graphed it. Remember, does not include 55 or 72, okay? Because it's saying that you have to be between 55 and you have to be between 72. All right, the climathon. So the climathon says under 60 inches tall. So with the under 60 inches tall, you're going to do H is less than 60. All right, so then with this one, we're just going to put 60 in the middle, and then we can even skip a few. We can do 55 here, and then we can do 50 here, and then we can do 45 here, and then 40 there. And again, this does not include, so we have an open circle. And our arrow is going that way. So does not include 60. All right, so I'm going to give you a second to go ahead and try and do that last one on your own. All right, so with this last one, the twirler coaster, it says 58 inches minimum. So you can be 58 inches, but minimum means that's the lowest that it could be. So again, we're going to write some numbers on here. We're going to do H is greater than or equal to 58. All right, so I'm going to write 50, then I'm going to do 55, then I'm going to do 60, 65, 70, 75, and 80. All right, so our number is 58, so it's going to be right around in here. And I'm using a closed circle because it's included, 58 is included, which makes our inequality true. So this is 58, and this does include 58. Okay? So it does include 58. These two do not include it, so they have the open circles. This one does include it, so it has a closed circle. Okay? Questions about writing the inequalities or graphing them? Again, write them down so that we can discuss them during our
If you made a phone call to the Wyatt children, please call the front
so that we
office.
can go ahead and try to get the misconceptions or whatever that we're having answered. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to number 2. And it says Han's cousin is 55 inches tall. Han does not think she is tall enough to ride the high bounce, but Kieran believes that she is tall enough. Do you agree with Han or Kieran? Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So if she's 55 inches and she wants to do the high bounce, do you agree with Han or do you agree with Kieran, and why? All right, so with this one, the way that we graphed it, we would say that I agree with Han because you have to be greater than 55 inches, okay? Based off of how we graphed it. Now, if you put a closed circle and you said that 55 inches is okay, then you would agree with Kieran and say, well, as long as she's 55 inches or greater than that, then she would be fine. All right. So we're going to move on to number 3. And number 3 says Priya can ride the climathon, but she cannot ride the high bounce or the twirler coaster. Which, if any, of the following could be Priya's height? You're prepared to explain your reasoning. All right, so if we look back at our information, it says that she can ride the climathon, but she cannot ride the high bounce or the tilt-a-coaster. All right, so for here is 55 to 72 inches. So we know that she's got to be less than 72 inches. And here it falls in between 55 and 72. So it's got to be lower than 55. So with this answer, we have 59, 53, and 56. Which one falls below 55? There's only one option, and that would be 53, and the reasoning would be Priya's height has to fall below 55 inches. Okay? And 53 is the only one that is obviously below 55 inches. All right, number 4 says Jada is 56 inches tall. Which ride can she go on? Okay, so again, we're looking at this. So if she's 56 inches tall, which ride can she ride? She can ride the high bounce because 56 is between 55 and 72. Can she ride the twirler coaster? No, because she has to be at least 55 inches. And here it says the climathon, she has to be under 60 inches. So she can ride the high bounce and the climathon. and that's because it's between 55 and 72 inches. And then the climathon is below 60 inches. So that is why she's able to ride those two. Okay? Kieran is 60 inches tall. Which rides can he go on? All right, so again, he can go on the high bounce because 60 is between 55 and 72. Can he go on the climb-a-thon? Well, you have to be under 60 inches, so therefore he's 60 inches, he would not be able to go on it. And then a minimum, so at least 58 inches, and 60 is greater than 58. So he can go on the high bounce and the twirler coaster. And again, that's because 60 falls between 55 and 72 inches. And the twirl coaster, he has to be 58 inches or greater. Okay. All right, and then the last question, it says the inequality H is less than 75, and H is greater than 64, represents the height restrictions in inches of another ride. Write three values that are solutions. So this means makes our statement true, makes our inequality true. To makes that are solutions to both of these inequalities. All right, so we are looking for numbers from 64 to 75. And honestly, the easiest way I would do this is I would draw a number line. And my number here would be 64, and it does not include it, so not 64. And then here, I'd write 75, and this would also be open because it's not 75. So any number that falls between 64 and 75. So again, you can pick three answers, doesn't necessarily have to be the ones that I'm going to pick. But again, it's any number between 65 and 74. So three solutions could be, so one could be 65, two could be 70, and three could be 72. Again, those are not the only answers. It's any number decimal fraction between 65 and 72. All right, if you have any questions, please go ahead, write them down, put them in the discussion board so that when I see them, you can go ahead and ask them and we can try to get them solved. All right.